Hi guys, it's Kit Kat here, or Katie, for another amazing review. I'm so terribly sorry about the Independence Day weekend, and I'm so sorry about Percy Jackson's. So Katie's just gonna do these huge reviews in one sitting. Wish me luck. Alright, let's get back to the superhero ones. Sorry, my phone's vibrating. Okay. Batman series, which was what I was going to do next, which I really should have done first. Why? Because I want to do Man of Steel to get that out of my system, which is actually very good. Anyway, the Batman trilogy, as a whole, is one of the greatest trilogies of all time, or at least one of the greatest Batman movies of all time. Yes, Adam West created the original Batman back in, I want to say 60s. I'm going to be so wrong. But back in the day, and he was a great Batman for the time, with the because he went with the comics of the pow, bam, pacha, I don't know, but that was the great for that era. And as the years slowly went on, of course, we had Tim Burton's outtake on it, which actually I kind of liked. I didn't like the Batman playing in it, which I think was, oh my god, his name just left me. This is why I should have notes. Do I take notes? No. Oh god, his name will come back to me like at the randomest moment, but he was one of the worst Batman. Not the worst though, because the guy before him who just couldn't act came before him, and okay. And then of course there was just George Clooney. He got the Bruce Wayne part, did not have the Batman part down. I don't even want to draw bad memories of that movie on so many levels, but they were good movies. Okay, no they weren't, sorry. I meant Batman Returns. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Should be fired. Can't fire me, I'm self-employed. Ha ha ha. It makes no money. Anyway, back to the movie. And of course, sadly, I would love to see Tim Burton take on it, because that's really what you need, is a darker outtake to the Batman series. Batman was not the happiest. The happiest or the luckiest bat in the world. He was dark. He was broody. He was just, God, everything. And you have to really capture that. You have to capture the rise and the fall, the rise, the defeat, and the rise again of this great comic book figure. So that's what I think Nolan recognized. Nolan is like a god to me. He's a god to me. He's just, oh my god. No, I don't care if he didn't direct another superhero movie, just as long as he's a producer. Just as long as he's like this influence on it, I'm fine. Because seriously, this is one of the best trilogies of all time, and here's why. First of all, great casting, great writing, great sets, great plot, great music, soundtrack, sorry, great effects, great everything, costume, everything was done right. This was the Batman series we were all waiting for, because it was done right. From the beginning to the end, it was done right. Because first movie, I see the pattern, if you've seen this and then you see Man of Steel, this all makes sense. The first pattern, you don't have a lot of speaking terms with him. With both Superman and both Batman. You don't have a lot of speaking terms in the first two movies of the trilogies, which we all know Man of Steel is going to be a trilogy. Don't even get me started. It's because they're building the background. You have Bruce's falling into the cave in the first movie, his parents saving him and his dad telling him not to be afraid, and then him freaking out, which ultimately leads to him feeling like he killed his parents. And that's a huge, huge thing that defines him. It's his parents' death and how his parents' criminal did not get justice. And how he thought what he was going to do by trying to kill the guy was going to bring justice, but it didn't. And he seeks out one of the greatest villains of all time. He's not even a villain, but more like anti. He was even that. He's just there. Is Ra's al Ghul, who was amazing. And I think they did him right. I think the actors did him right. I think they did him perfect in everything, because he takes that on. He's not this villain that most people portray him as. He's more as this guiding figure, which I really enjoyed. And I'm gonna move my camera around because I'm sorry about my volume. Is this really bad? I'm so sorry. I'm trying. Sorry, random note there. But the movies were done well. Bruce Wayne, Christian Bale was really good. He had the billionaire, philanthropist, God side to him, and playboy, I'm so sorry, I forgot that word. He had the dark, so people make fun of his voice, but I think that defines him, because seriously, if he just wore glasses or put on a suit, people would recognize him. So I always picture him having a different voice to him, a different tone, and that it's two characters as one, because guess what? At the end of the trilogy, they pointed out perfectly, he wasn't a person. He wasn't this hero or this god. He was this figure of hope, a figure of justice, a figure that doesn't need a thank you or a reason why he basically made himself the villain in the second movie to save the cop's life. He didn't need a reason to, because that is justice in his sense. He's giving the good people a justice sense. If I'm looking down, I don't know why. But he gives the people a justice sense. Scarecrow was one of the characters that you never saw. You never got to see him portrayed. At least I haven't watched the older Adam West series at all, and I've seen all of the movies, and I don't remember Scarecrow ever being done. Because Scarecrow is one of those characters that's very, very hard to do, because he's like part of society as his lawyer, as we see, but he's also, I think he's a doctor, if I'm correct. And he kind of blended it, and he was obsessed with fear, which created him. And they did him right. I'm so sorry. They did him right. And I like how he travels throughout the series. Like, he's still there. He's never caught, even though we know who he is, we know what he does, but he's never caught in the sense that they get him right in a sense with the drugs and the aspect of the movie, and the fear gas, which is one of my favorite things in the movie. It's the fear gas being used against Bruce, and that's what the first movie was about, was him conquering his fear and becoming the great justice, and then leaving, because he had basically succeeded in his goal of accomplishing what he set out to do in the first movie, and then comes back for the second movie, which, rest in peace, Heath Ledger, because he was the best, next to Jack freaking Nicholson. I had my doubts about that, if you could beat Jack Nicholson, who was like another famous actor of mine. He triumphed it. Jack Nicholson was good for that time period. The kind of mastermind, the silliness of the Joker, which was good. But see, good Joker is the serious, dark, sadistic, but has that dark humor to him that makes you love him. He's one of my favorite supervillains because he's so complex, and I'm not going to do one of those reviews, sorry. But Heath Ledger got the dark and cynical side of it in the way of thinking. Like, we don't know how, and I like it is, we don't know how the Joker came about. We don't know how he was created. Of course, there's theories, and I think there is a comic book and a TV show, and when the Batman TV series, they do kind of address that. But it's never really stated how the Joker becomes real. And they did it well in this movie, because that's what you want to do. You want to give these questions, but you don't give these answers. But yet, you're getting the answers you do not want to hear, and I love that about Christopher Nolan, and they did it right, and I think it did this movie justice. Heath Ledger was perfect. He was playing, he didn't care who he killed. He can make a deal with you, and that's the Joker. He made a deal with you, and then he killed you off, except for Harley Quinn, but she was never mentioned until later on. She was later on down in his life, which we have to remember, these are the early years of Batman, the establishing of the Batman character, and not really the Bruce Wayne character, but the Batman character. So that's why there's no Robin in the first two movies, and really most of the third movie. There is no Harley Quinn. It's the serious characters that created Batman. Joker was one of the main things that created Batman and destroyed him, because he's the one enemy he cannot defeat, and you saw that. You saw it, and I would have loved to see him in the third movie, or at least some part of him, but that obviously was never going to happen due to his sudden death, literally. And it was very sad, because he did a great performance, And my favorite line in that whole movie, if I was to be a superhero, it's never gonna happen, but it's the best line that ever came out of a superhero movie in so long, was, you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. Said by Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, which is my favorite one, because that is so true. That is what Batman was about. That line sums up everything. Even if there was no third movie to explain everything, it summed it up perfectly. That one line of who Batman is. He is a character that isn't a lost soul. He's a figure of justice who doesn't want to do this. Batman never wanted to do this long term. He didn't want partners. He didn't want anybody to get mixed up in this line of life, because that's what happens. People get corrupt. Cops get corrupt. It's saying a statement about society as a whole. Cops get corrupt every day. Detectives, the government, okay, that's a little, not really. The system, everything gets corrupt at one point or another, and you either leave that system or die, and not necessarily die, but leave it, or, because you can't, you can fix it, you can try, but it would take so long to do it, but you either die trying, or watch yourself become just as corrupt and evil as the people around us. And that's what he was doing. And I had to sum this up in the last movie. The last movie is my favorite, guess what? Catwoman finally is back after Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm sorry, I loved Michelle Pfeiffer, but Catwoman is crazy. She's not a crazy cat lady like they made her out to be. She's not crazy at all. But they did, Anne Hathaway did her justice. Finally. Screw Halle Berry. She did it wrong. That movie's all wrong. Screw her. This person did it right, and that's why Anne Hathaway is one of my favorite actors. If I was to become an actor, I would want to meet her so bad, because she's like an idol to me. She's amazing. And she's amazing in that she was the perfect Selena Kyle who just lives to survive, which is American people now. We live to survive. That is our main thing. We do what we can to survive. I'm talking to my hand. And, sorry, write a note. And the ending was perfect. It was perfect because it sums up what it did in the last movie. He died a hero. Dying when he did was right. Even if they broke his back, killed his parents, destroyed his city, he did what was right. He saved people, and he didn't even die. But that scene with Alfred, it leaves us hanging. Did Alfred go? Did Alfred leave? Or is that just it? But I was a little mad with the Robin thing. I was like, but then again I understood. If you don't know the comics, then you're not going to understand what I'm going to say to you. Robin, aka played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, was every Robin. First Robin actually became a cop later on in his life before becoming Nightwing, which was Dick Grayson. aka Robin was an orphan. Jason Todd was an orphan, and so was Tim Drake. Tim Drake was the only Robin to figure out Batman's secret identity without even trying, and that's what he did. That's what this Robin did. And he sums up the three main heroes. He was an orphan, he was a detective, he was the representation of Robin, not necessarily the Robin, but the representation of him. And he was supposed to carry on the legacy like all Robins are meant to do. So in the end, Christopher Nolan was amazing. The series did so much more than just a comic book series. It was realistic. It could happen. It really could happen. It's terrorism. It could happen. And it could happen today, it could happen tomorrow. And to say anything about people, Selena Kyle, Catwoman, we live to survive. We do what we can to survive. The city as a whole, we do what we can. We are corrupt and we are cruel, and no matter how many times you try to save it, with Harvey Dent, Two-Face, he became just as corrupt as the city he was trying to clean. You can't be done. You either die trying, and that's what that movie said. This trilogy is the best trilogy, and I will love it, and I will show it to my grandchildren one day like my grandmother did to me. And so, thank you for watching. If I didn't clear anything up, please be sure to tell me later. If something's wrong with my audio, please tell me, because I'm really sorry about that. If you have any suggestions for later on reviews or anything you want me to go in more specifics, please don't be afraid to ask. Thank you. Love you. Bye.